Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It's Sunday night, 11/12 of 23, so November 12th, 2023. I'm getting ready to do some more of my homework assignment for my mentorship uh, program. I don't know what you call it exactly. I'm taking a mentorship through another artist, but I got a couple quadrants to fill. Hopefully before my Zoom call tomorrow night with David Gray. Tonight, I think I'm going to do a nose and a mouth. Noses are still kind of hard for me. Maybe I will do. Actually, let me do a nose and an eye. I'm working on this image that I have up is Macy. She's one of our models. Um, and I think I'm going to do her portrait next. I was planning on doing a portrait this weekend, but ran out of weekend. And also part of it too is I didn't really have anything that I was excited about painting, which usually keeps me from actually doing a painting. So, but I was looking at this, image of her that we took at one of our Friday photo shoots, and I like it. I wish her eyes weren't so dark, but I might be able to fix that in Photoshop or Lightroom. So, yeah, so let's do that. Well, we'll see how it goes. I think I want to do another nose because I definitely have a hard time with noses. I've only got one mouth up here, so we'll start with that. And we'll go from there. I've already pre-mixed some colors. I'm always, the hardest thing for me with oil painting portraits is skin tones. So I watched some tutorials today on painting skin tones. We'll see what David thinks about it tomorrow night. But I'm still using a limited palette. I should scrape off the colors that I'm not using to keep from confusing you. But all I'm using is titanium white, bismuth yellow, just a touch of cad red light. This is transparent red oxide, ultramarine blue. So jump all the way over to the corner here. Can you guys even see what I'm pointing at? Yeah. Ultramarine blue and ivory black. And then what I did was I started with, the goal was to make 9 piles. I started with kind of a center pile. It was basically just transparent red oxide, titanium white, and just a touch of cad red. And that made kind of a base skin tone, kind of similar to kind of the red of the nose. Kind of this area of the nose. And then what you do is the pile, you make another pile above and below. So you've got 3 piles. You mix a little bit of white in the top pile. And then, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. You mix a little bit of white in the left pile. And that makes kind of a lighter version of the center pile. Then you mix a little black in the one on the right, a little black and a little bit blue. And that makes kind of a darker version of the center pile. And then you mix yellow in the top row, you mix red in the middle row, and you mix blue in the bottom row. Because if you look at, and I know this is not true for all cases, but the forehead or the brow and above is usually a little bit orange. Kind of between the brow and the bottom of the nose is usually a little bit redder, and then from the bottom of the nose to kind of the bottom of the chin and then again under the chin is usually a little bluer or cooler. So that's the thinking behind that. And anyways, I'm trying it. David basically did a thing where he just basically, we kind of mixed 3 colors. We kind of mixed kind of like what I did last time. We mixed kind of the mid-tone, We made a dark version of that for the darkest, kind of the dark shadowy areas, like would be on the right side of the nose in this case. And then we kind of made a light version of that pile, and then we kind of started with that and then just kind of mixed as needed. But I have such a hard time with skin tones that I'm gonna talk more about this with him tomorrow. And then also, I kind of forgot. I felt that none of my piles were light enough, so what I did is I made a fourth row here on the left, and it's just I started with a pile of titanium white, 3 piles of titanium white, and then I just mixed a little bit of the color to the right of it into that titanium white, and that's how I ended up with these. Because this is definitely kind of what I see to the right of a portrait, and I certainly don't need these 4 piles of mixed colors just to do, just to do a lips or a nose or eyes. But I kind of, before I started this, I was kind of wanting to practice a little bit, and lucky for you, I spared you all that mixing. Mixing takes some practice. I guess I've been painting now for 7 years, 8 years. In mixing colors takes some practice. It's definitely a lot easier over time, and even just the process of doing the mixing with a palette knife. I watched a bunch of videos and I watched a lot of people do it. The way I do it today, and the easiest way that I've seen it, is you always use just the bottom of your palette knife. So there's a top and a bottom, and you basically mash the color in. So we'll do kind of an in-between pile here. So we'll have a little bit of the color on the right, a little bit of the color to its left, and you kind of mash the colors together with the bottom of the palette knife, and then you scoop them up also with the bottom of the palette knife, and then mash. The most efficient one that I saw is they go scrape, scrape, mash, mash, scrape, scrape, mash, mash, scrape, scrape, mash, mash, scrape, scrape, mash, mash. And then they'll pick that pile up and then they'll place it wherever they want. And that's kind of what I've done here. And then the top of your knife shouldn't ever get dirty. You shouldn't use it at all. And then before you mix another color, a lot of people will have a paper towel or a rag somewhere, and they just kind of do this thing. You can't see that, but they'll basically just do this on the, I'll do it over here. They'll just do this on the towel to clean it off. Or I always have a paper towel in my hand. I think that's from doing so much plein air painting or outdoor painting. And then before you set your palette knife down, make sure that it's always wiped off, because palette knives are one of those things. Like once I mix these piles, to mix colors, I'll use the brush my paint brushes for the rest of the session pretty much. Unless I'm just completely out of a big pile of color that I use a lot. But yeah, clean your palette knife off before you set it down. It's a good habit to get into. And because you don't know when you're going to pick it back up again. Once I set this palette knife down tonight, I probably won't touch it again. And then with the work week starting tomorrow, it might be 2 or 3 days before I see it. And then if you don't do it, you got to come back here and scrape the old paint off, which is hard to do actually. So I'm going to put the palette knife down. And then I think what we're going to do, I've only got one mouth in my board here. Can I show that to you guys without moving everything? Let's see. So I've got 8 quadrants filled, and if you look over here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that I have left to fill. I was hoping to have them all done by tomorrow night, but we'll see. Probably not. And the goal is to be able to do this kind of without doing an initial sketch. Most of my favorite artists that do alla prima or wet into wet, or finish the entire painting in one session, they don't do a lot of sketching. they just start painting. But I still, I'm still learning this portrait thing, so I still am doing, sketching. All right, so let me just make sure my audio is working. There we go. Looks good. Looks good. And then let's start with the lip. So over on the right here, I've got my iPad once again. And then let's get started. I got the Raider game going on in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud to where it's distracting. And then let's just do our sketch. All I'm going to use for the sketch, I'm going to use this darkest pile. The one it's a little darker than the other ones, but it's mostly towards the yellow. I'm going to use a little bit of solvent, and we're just doing the lip, so I'm going to start right in the center. This is kind of low for me, so I'm going to use my stick. Yeah, I'm already having a little trouble. I think my dog is sick. She didn't eat anything for breakfast. She didn't eat her dinner, and I gave her a treat, and I could see the treat from here. So she didn't eat her treat either, which is pretty rare for a dog. All right, maybe just some quick talk about lips. The tops are usually darker because the shadow, like most of my portraits, the light comes from above. This one kind of comes from most of mine come from kind of 45 degrees. So the sun or the light would be here. So the tops of the lip are usually darker, or the darkest part of the lip. There's usually a little bit of shadow under the lip. And these little creases are usually dark. And they kind of do this, they seem to, I mean, you should look at all of your, you should paint from what you see as opposed to a rule. But they seem to all kind of have this little U here, and then they go up, and then they do an upside down U, right? And then kind of where they end on the sides, they usually tilt up or down. In Macy's, in this picture, they kind of tilt. One tilts down, and I think one tilts kind of not at all. It's okay to put that heavy line in there now because we're going to make it thinner with the flesh tone. I think that's called, the septum goes to the nose. I forget what this part of the lip is here. This would be the septum of the nose. We're not going to do much with the nose tonight, but just to give you an idea, that's where the nostrils would be. We use this dark color here. And then the shadow probably comes down to about there. This side is going to be a little darker. Kind of outside of the wing of the nose is usually darker. Even on the light side, it's usually darker, or at least there's always a shadow that's created by the cheek. So this bit is always a little darker. And this side is usually the darkest, beside the wing there. And don't get too crazy with this, with either one of these shadows, because if you make them too dark or the edges too hard, they tend to make the, as I say that, I make it really dark. They make the subject look older, which is fine if you want them to look older, but. And then usually the kind of a rule of thumb is the wing of the wings of the nose are usually about the same width as where the lips are thick. So I mean, within reason. So that's a good way to measure too. There's usually, Macy's got a cool septum ring here, but I'm not going to paint that tonight, but there's usually a shadow under the nose here. All right, I think that's good enough for a sketch. Of course, I didn't mix any colors for her lips. I should have done that. That'd be a good exercise. That would be a good exercise. Why don't we take a stab at it? There's three main colors. There's the darkest dark is under the lip. Kind of the mid-tone is kind of here on the right. Kind of on the edge. It's kind of on the, what do they call it? Half tone. Kind of on the bottom of the lip here. Kind of where the light, kind of loses some of its kind of power or its brightness or its magnitude as it kind of rolls under the lip. And then the lightest part is the reflection. Macy doesn't look like she's got any lip gloss on here. It looks like maybe just a little bit of color lipstick. I don't think that's natural. But yeah, so basically three colors. Kind of the darkest part of the top part of the lip, the mid-tone, or kind of the mid-color with the half-tone where it kind of rolls underneath the bottom of the lip, and then the lightest light. So we should be able to mix that pretty easy. Why don't we do that? It'll be fun for me to try. And so for mixing colors, we'll get a palette knife out. For mixing colors, so I'm going to start with the color under the top of her lip. And I think, to me, let's see what you guys see. Maybe I can make that a little bit bigger. Hang on one sec. So Macy, let's see. We can make that quite a bit bigger. I'm going to pull that over here in the center a little bit. Even more in the center. All right, why don't we leave it there? Let's see, that looks pretty. All right, so let's do that. I think, so what I see mostly is transparent red oxide. Probably not that powerful, so maybe transparent red oxide is a little orangey to me. So to knock down that that high saturation, the power of it, we'll get a little bit of blue in there. Let's take a look and see how that looks. It's a little dark, so we'll add a little white to it. That's probably way. Now you can really see how orange that is, though. So let's get some more blue in there. And it's definitely redder. So we'll get some CAD red in there. CAD red light. Gotta be careful with that because it's super powerful. And I think redder. So as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, oh, this is kind of sneaking towards the middle color. So that's fine. We could leave it the middle color. So when I say the middle color, to me, that's kind of the outside edges of the bottom lip. And like I was saying earlier, where the lip rolls on the very bottom before it disappears into the shadow under the lip. That color. And I think it's even redder. So let's get a little more red in there. See, how does it look for you guys? For you guys, it looks pretty orange. Oops. Hold on. Checking my phone. I got a text. Oh yeah, sure enough. All right. So I still think even redder. Sorry, this is taking a little longer. I probably overdid it that time. And I did what I wasn't supposed to do. Use the top of my palette knife. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Mix, mix, mix. All right, I think that's as good as we're going to be able to do. And I'm at the stage in portraiture, in the painting where like I'm kind of a know-it-all. I know all the rules, and I watch so many hours of YouTube and watch so many people paint that I kind of know the rules. But I'm still learning how to apply the things that I see. Like I know this process, so I should be asking myself, and I do. I didn't say it out loud, but usually when I know a color is off, you're supposed to ask yourself, okay, what does it need to be? Does it need to be more blue, more red, or more yellow? And then, so we kept adding red. I'm like, it needs to be more red, more red, more red. And then the next question is does it need to be darker or lighter? So first you get the color or the hue right, and then you do the value. And so I got the color pretty right. And I think that's pretty good for kind of our middle value. And I think the value, I think that's good for our middle color. I think, why don't we make our darker value, which is under the tops of the lip. So I'm gonna kind of make this pile a little neater. And I'm gonna cut off a little bit of it. I'm gonna move it up here. And I'm gonna do something different for the light side. The light side I'm gonna start with white, but let's make our darker value first. So I think for the darker value, I want to add a little more transparent red oxide. And I know to darken it, the darkest color I have at my disposal are black and blue. Why don't we start with blue? I'm gonna put that over here. All right, so we're doing the we're doing the shadow under the top of the lip. So it's probably a little too blue and probably not dark enough. So I'm going to add back some transparent red oxide. And I'm going to add just a touch more blue to make it darker. And that's getting more like it. I think for what we're doing here, that'll be just fine. So that's our color for underneath the top lip. Pretty much the whole top lip. All right. Now we're going to do the light value, and I'm going to wipe off my palette knife, and I'm going to get this off of here. Because what we're going to do for the highlight is we're going to start with white. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of either pile. I got more of this dark color, so I'm going to grab just a little bit of the top pile. And a little bit more. Because that highlight isn't very light. I think we could go a little redder. And I think we'll start with that. And normally I'm doing this is all about practice and getting my homework assignment done. I typically don't do this on Wednesday nights when we're painting from live models, and I certainly don't do all this when I'm doing plein air on Saturdays, but I need to practice. My color mixing is terrible. My color matching is terrible, I should say. Alright, so I think we got our 3 colors. So for the top of the lip, let's get our dark value and put that in there. And I think there is a really dark line. We'll put that in there as well. I guess leave a spot for it. I'm trying not to get that small little brush out right away, but we'll go back and we'll put that really darkest dark line in there, and then we'll blend it out. It is a little darker than this. Let's see how we do with that. All right. I'm going to set that brush over here for now. It's okay that it's got kind of that dark value in it. I'm going to use some more of it later. And what I'm going to do is cut around the lips a little bit, shape the lips a little bit. And that is really a light color. Let's not do our lightest light. Let's do kind of this middle light here. Can you guys see that? Yeah. So, yeah. I got no medium on my brush at this point. Pure paint. I should have wiped that off instead of trying to paint over it, but it's fine. Here we could clean up this a little bit. It probably wouldn't hurt me to get more paint mixed. The criticism of my paintings from pretty much everyone is my paint is too thin. That has to do a little bit with me not mixing enough paint. We'll get the top of her chin here too. All right, let's do the shadow under her lip on the right. And so we'll use these bluer colors down here. I am going to wipe that really light color out of my brush. So we use the bluer colors, and I think it's more this color. So maybe a mix of these two. It's pretty dark though. And then definitely a little bit here. And then I'm going to go a little bit lighter here. That didn't turn out lighter. All right. That should be darker. So let's grab this color again. And the other place we could use that color is kind of the shadows under the nose. Alright, so I'm just going to use this brush again. Let's fix that line we just killed. Alright, let's do the thick part of the bottom of the lip. I want to get rid of that. That brush is a little bit too big. I got more brushes, but let's just keep using this round. So we use this middle color that we mixed. That's very similar to this color. A little darker maybe. And just for the outer edges. A bit under here. Alright, and then we've got this light color that we'll use here. Just a little bit there. Do your brush strokes kind of the shape of the where the creases are in the lip. I see a little bit of red, a little redder, kind of right here. see a little bit of red kind of on the left side here, on the top lip. And then I definitely see it's a lot darker here on the side. And over here it's really dark too. I think I'm going to grab some more blue to darken it up. And then pure transparent red oxide is actually darker than that color, so I'm going to add some of that in there too. Just FYI, French ultramarine blue and transparent red oxide mixed together gets you really close to black, so you should be able to get nice and dark with it. What are you doing? I think redder, more redder. What we were working earlier. This line. And then I think we could carve into that a little bit more to clean it up. White there. Trying to make a little more contrast and get my colors a little closer. Kind of doing some of the drawing as I go. Try not to mess up the drawing where I go or as I go. Not bad, not bad. I'm gonna, since I'm going really blue or cool and dark to light, I'm gonna wash my brush instead of just wiping. So I made the darker stuff darker. Let's make some of the lighter stuff lighter. And kind of the lightest bit is the highlights on the lips. For this, I try to go kind of in the direction of the creases and cracks in the lip. I thought I could get away with kind of that mixed highlight on my brush, but I basically jacked up the drawing here. Easy enough to put back. I think it's redder. I think it's even redder. Redder. It's redder and rounder. Kind of need a dark brush and a light brush because I'm going back and forth and darkening the darks, lightening the lights. All right, I think we're gonna call that good for our lip. Just for the sake of moving on, I'm gonna put that picture of Macy back because we're gonna do her eye now. So let's see. Let's get rid of this image, and then we'll do one of her eyes. I think I said I wanted to do her nose though. Probably don't need to see me. Let's see. Slide this over a little bit. I got a little clamp up here that I'm loosening up, so I can slide this over. Clamp it back down. There. And yes, I could just finish this nose down here, but the goal is not to do a portrait. It's to do you know, a feature, a nose, an eye, a mouth in each square. So I'm going to do the nose in this square. So let's move her over. Move her about here. And we'll do it again. I'm going to take that same round that I've been using, and I'm going to use a dark color with some medium to thin it. we're going to draw. So let's see. I don't know about that. It's not too bad, I guess. This actually goes up a little higher. This triangle. And this should be quite a bit longer. Let's clean that off a little bit. My canvas is pretty slick. It's a pretty nice portrait quality linen, and it's been gessoed. What do they call it? Triple primed. And then I've got a little bit of raw umber that I use to stain it. It's all pretty dark through here. This is all pretty light through here. This is kind of where the eye's gonna sit, I guess. Looks all right. That's gonna be a lot lighter. Let's try to clean that out. Wipe, wipe, wipe. look to you guys. What's the nose like, I guess? Alright, so let's ditch this round brush. The brush that filbert I was using earlier is a little too big. So I got a little smaller filbert here. This is too small for me to read, but it's pretty small, like compared to my finger. Can you see that? So, I can't quite see it. It looks like it's a 6 or something. Let's use this. So let's do the dark side first. So nose is kind of in the center of the face, so it should be these middle colors. Remember, the top color is a little more yellow, the middle color is a little more red, and then the bottom color is a little more blue. Since we're in the center of the face, that's a little more red. So we use these center colors. And I wanted to go dark, so. Come dark all the way down to that line pretty much. Alright, it's actually pretty dark around the nostril. And then down under the nose. And then kind of dark here too. We'll have to go back in and draw in the nostrils. Alright, now let's go kind of the middle color, which is kind of in between these two. Let me grab some of this one. That's kind of, ooh, that's still too dark. We'll grab some of this. Paint's already starting to dry. And it's a little redder, so I'm going to get a little bit of red in there. Yeah, a little redder. A little redder. A little lighter. Put a highlight over the top of that. And then this kind of comes down here. You guys see it a lot lighter than I see it. Let me see if I can make that color a little better. Temperature wise, a little more like that, but I definitely got to go darker in the shadows. So let's do that. Oops, a little carried away there. All right, I don't really have any any highlights or anything yet. This whole section is pretty light. This section was pretty pink. Kind of a little triangle of a highlight there. It's kind of weird to draw these features without the other features to kind of map them together. All right. Let's clean up some of this. Cleaning this brush because I think I'm done with it. Get my small round. Clean that too. Let's fix some of our drawing a bit, I guess. Nostrils really dark, so get some more blue in there. Don't use black. I think we talked about it last time. Not for ladies' nostrils. But it should be dark up on the top end of it. As dark as you can get it, without black, I guess. And then as you come out of the nostril, it should get warmer and redder. All right. Grab some of this blue or cool colors, kind of for the underside of the nostrils. She's got that nose ring in there, but let's see if we can. So follow this line down and around. Oops, my mall stick slipped. So blend that out. Hopefully my head's not blocking. Nah. Alright, so let's get some really light in there. All right, we have a nose. All right. All right, I think we're going to call it there. It's Sunday night. There's still some Sunday night football on. Maybe we'll get up early enough, I'll fill in those last two quadrants. But all right, I think that's not too bad. I might cheat and do a flesh sphere. I haven't done one of those in a while. And then maybe one more eye, and then I think we're done. All right, well, hopefully by next time I'll have a portrait I want to do in mind. I think it's just going to be this one of Macy here. I think that's a pretty good. I think that's a pretty good image of her. And I guess we've been practicing her features, so might as well, right? Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'll post this tonight, most likely. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you got any comments about it, or if you got any instructions, I'm just beginning to. You know, I've been painting a while, but I've only been doing portraits for a couple years now, and it's kind of a lifetime of mastery type hobby, and I certainly don't know it all. But I'm feeling better about my flesh tones, and I think the drawing will come, you know, as long as I keep drawing. So, but anyways, have a wonderful night. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.